And let's certify the quorum. Would you like to take roll, please?
Bruce Henderson,
Here, ma'am.
Deborah Fortner,
Here?
John Harris,
Here.
Philip Lipoma,
Here.
Marjorie Morgan, Amy Skicky.
Here.
Great. We have a quorum.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 1B, consider electing a chair and a vice chair of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Do I have a nomination for the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Committee?
Nominate you.
Do you make the nomination?
I do make that nomination.
Okay, Ms. Fortner has made the nomination for Bruce Henderson to be chairman. Do I have a second? Okay.
Who seconded?
Phil did. Are there any other nominations for chairman? Okay, with that being said, can I get a vote? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? None opposed. Thank you all very much. I hopefully won't let you down too much. Officially, I am now the chairman of the Planning and Zoning. Now, with that being said, we need to nominate a vice chair, and I would like to make the nomination for Ms. Deborah Fortner. Anybody like a second? We have a second. Mr. John. Any other nominees for vice chair? Okay. With that, we all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None opposed. Ms. Fortner, congratulations. You're now our vice chair. Thank you very much. Okay. Who would like to do the invocation? Yes, sir.
Are we one or two members short?
We are one member short. 6 is our magic number, apparently. And Ivan has, you want to?
I was going to cover that at the report by city staff.
Phil, do you mind if we
So-
hold that until? Thank you, sir. All right. Who would like to do the invocation? Ms. Fortner, would you like to lead?
Please rise. Our Heavenly Father, we just hope we honor your name here today. And we just thank you so much for allowing us to come together as a group and be able to lead our planning, our zoning in this community. And we just thank you for all the people who make that happen, all the people out guarding us and our liberties, Lord. We just thank you in your precious name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Everybody, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to both flags. United States first, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
You can honor it.
I'm going to try that again later, I promise. I have a whole bunch of family that's going to be talking to me about that. Okay. Item 4A, consider approving the minutes of the November 16th, 2021 Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting from November 16th, 2021.
Do I have a
I
second?
second it.
Seconded by Ms. Fortner. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carried. Item 4B, consider approving the minutes of March 15th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commissioning regular meeting.
I move that we approve the March 15th, 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission regular meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
John's got the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Do you care if we go ahead and move 6A and B?
You want report from city staff first?
Where did my 5A go?
First.
There it is. My bad. Report from city staff, please.
So just a couple of items. One, Mr. Ivan Langford has withdrawn from the board. And Amy Skicky is actually new on the board. So city council actually appointed her last meeting, I think. Just some different planning things to keep y'all up to date with. Our Board of Adjustment approved a variance for a reduced front setback, rear setback, and lot size. for 2314 23rd Street. That owner qualified for a home through the General Land Office. So Board of Adjustment approved that. City Council voted to approve the Hughes Road plan development that y'all saw last month or the month before. And then the application for the Water Street plan development, they will actually have their public hearing at City Council on April 26th and the second reading on May 10th. So there's no decision on that one yet. The comprehensive plan community survey is still active. So definitely want to encourage the community to participate in that. And we're planning a CPAC meeting for May 24th at 5:30 p.m. before the City Council meeting that night. So still kicking off on the comprehensive plan. A lot of people have heard about the CDBG buyout and acquisition program. This is a program that is state-funded money that basically tells us how we can spend it, and it's to buy properties to get them out of the floodplain, and there's buyout and acquisition. Buyout means that when the city has the property, we demolish it, it becomes green space forever. Acquisition means that when we get the property, we demolish the existing structure, but then that property can actually be resold to developer to build up out of the floodplain. We're in a comment period right now. We're getting lots of comments. The application period is planned for July and August. And there's additional information on our website under the current and upcoming projects.
Can we ask you a question?
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
Where are people doing the comments to that questions?
Online. So if you actually go on the city's website under the current and upcoming project,
Okay.
it actually has information and there's a link to fill out an online form.
Does it explain the difference between the two that you just
Yeah,
mentioned?
there's a number of different resources on there.
Okay.
You can actually download the
Perfect.
entire document. There's some FAQs that are some real quick, easy things.
Perfect.
But
Thank you.
everything is on that website.
Okay. Super.
We are also starting a more formal process for a pre-application conference. We would like to invite a representative from Planning and Zoning Commission to attend those. These are developments that you will see further on down the line, but this is usually the first time that they come in and they hear if they have to rezone, if they have to do a specific use permit. They basically start getting the direction of how to develop in the city. Those are typically on Wednesday mornings. The next one that we have is going to be on April 27th. Also planning one for May 4th. Please reach out to me if y'all are interested in attending that. If y'all want to, if somebody wants to volunteer to do it on a more regular basis, however we want to decide to do that, just reach out to me if you're interested in joining that. And that's all that staff has.
In the morning.
It's Wednesday, and the one on the 27th is starting at 9 a.m. is typically when they start. And depending upon how many cases will depend on how many they go. I'm trying to limit them to 3 each because they usually take 30 to 45 minutes to go through one development.
In this room here.
It's actually in a conference room, but it's here at City Hall.
One request, is it possible to get a Reader's Digest version of that staff report emailed to each of us?
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, just the general consensus of what you just described to all of us, the individual line items, because you have certain events in there talking about dates and times and places and events.
Yeah, so just from the staff report, the dates and things that are happening, you just want me to send that out?
Just the 3,000 foot level.
I can
report.
do that. Okay.
Anything else, ma'am?
That is all I have.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we are going to move items 6A and 6B to after the public hearings. If anybody doesn't have a problem with that, everybody okay with that? Okay, so we're going to move on to 7A, public hearing action items. The public hearings today are being held for the purpose of giving all interested persons the right to speak and be heard. Everyone desiring to speak at today's hearing should have signed the appropriate list in the foyer prior to the posted time of this meeting. Each speaker shall give his or her name and address in order to be provided a proper record of this hearing. The rules allow each speaker 3 minutes to present information. However, I encourage everyone to be as brief and to the point as possible. If you are a group of persons wishing to address the commission on the same subject, please select a spokesperson to present the information. If anyone has any questions, please direct them to me, and with the help of the city staff, I will attempt to answer them. Thank you very much. Okay, we have 2 people currently written down for this. Okay,
Bruce, if we can start with reading the item and the staff presentation.
yep. Conduct a public hearing concerning a request for a specific use permit for a church for approximately 0.215 acres located at 2512 Termini Street and legally described as abstract 19 Perry and Austin Lot 10 O through L 187 Termini S through S-D Highway 3 Dickinson. Okay, we have 2 people signed up to speak on public. Cortland Holman,
No, you need the staff presentation first. Here.
staff
on-
presentation, go
it's
ahead.
So this piece of property is 2512 Termini Street. It's pretty much kind of
I know.
catty corner from City Hall where we're at, where we are at currently. What's existing right there is actually a lease space, which they're looking at leasing one of the 3 spaces to put a church in. And this is just basically for the use as required. You have any questions from staff?
It is in the space that has been a church, right?
Yeah, one of them is an award shop, the other one's a flower shop, so it's going into the 1 vacant spot.
Which was the church, I think.
Was it ever a church?
Huh?
Was it ever a church?
Yeah, there, yes.
they tried once.
Well, there is a church.
They were not able to provide any kind of documentation to me to say that it was a continuing non-conforming use. So there was no specific use permit done before, so I can't say what it was before.
Well, it says it on the deal, so I don't know what that means. But
Okay.
that's cool.
Okay, thank you very much. Applicant's presentation, please.
We,
Do I need to bring it to you or?
Do you have handouts? Is it just one or is it?
That's just the application, they have that.
Okay, yeah, we don't need this, sir.
Good evening. I didn't know I had to stand up here, but anyway,
Can I get your name and address, sir, please?
sorry about it. My name is Enrique Ordonez. I'm blessed. I'm with Pastor Daniel and also the pastor Cynthia Rukia. So with as you can see, I don't know if you can see the dates. We just started with the permit for start acting as a church in this place. And from here, and then we would like to know what else we have to do, because we just waiting for answer from the city hall.
Your address, sir, please?
My address is my personal address of the church. My personal address. I live in 2911 in Lakes Drive in Hockley.
Hockley?
Yes, sir. Hockley, Texas.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Do you have anything you want to add to?
Actually, no. Like I told you before, we just waiting for answer from the city hall. We trying to put all the documentation that is being asking from the city hall, and so far, like I told you before, we just waiting from city halls. What else? What we have to do for the move everything and go forward for it?
Okay.
Yep.
That's the applicant presentation, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we don't have the more. We just waiting so far for the answer from the city hall.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, sir.
One more thing. It says you say
You've got the floor, sir. You feel free.
as you say the place. I know it was a church before.
thank you.
I know for sure it was. because it's still there's a sign on the corner. It's still there's a sign. Also, when we got there was a sign on the door. We're trying to fix up a ramp, but for sure it was a church before. Yeah.
We approved it back in the day, so I knew it was.
She was
Okay.
right.
Good to go.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. Now we'll go to public comments. Mr. Cortland Holman?
Hello, my name is Cortland Holman. I'm the ED Director for the City of Dickinson. My office is 1621 FM 517. I'm having to actually speak against this project. The EDC is investing working with a developer to go into the Amagi building, valued, the development is $168 million. This has been spoken with a joint meeting with the City Council and EDC about a month ago. This will be a mixed-use development across the street. The church could actually stop the progress of a mixed-use development in making certain amenities to that development. So it's a 7.9 acre development across the street. You have to legally be a certain distance from doorfront to doorfront. And right now, the current doorfront is 311 feet. Now, they'll probably have to modify the building to make other door fronts for the mixed-use development and or additional developments in the parking area and in the back. So this type of use, which is a non-conforming use today, because it has been the church, if there was a church there, yes, there is something on the door, but that doesn't mean that that's actually what was there. But it is a non-conforming use today. So what we need to do, what I'd like you to do, is not approve a church. I will do my best to work with the development to find another location that is conforming, but this one is too much of a risk in our downtown that could help rehabilitate the entire downtown. So like I'm saying, this is a $168 million development that we are working across the street. This type of use would affect, because of proximity and because of its type of use by the state law, certain uses could no longer be in that mixed-use building. So I'm trying not to risk a very major development to the city. We've created a tax increment reinvestment zone to accommodate this type of a development and redevelop the entire downtown. So bear with me. This is something that is near and dear to all of our hearts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Next up, Mr. Bill Schick.
Bill Schick, 2926 Mellows Lane. I am presently the president of the Economic Development Commission. Everything that Cortland said is in my heart, but when I looked at that building, we have a church, and I think that's 900 square feet in that office.
No, that's the flower shop. It's about 1,500.
Oh, 1,500 square feet. And I noticed that there's a total of 12 parking spaces for the whole building. I don't know how many church members they're planning, but we will work very hard to find them a location that is more conducive, closer to a residential area. It's not that I'm against churches. I attend church on a regular basis, but we only have a limited amount of retail and commercial space in Dickinson. We already have our fair share of churches in town, most of them which sit on land that they're not using. So this is another one. We will work with the owner of the building to see if we can find somebody in there. I have an attorney that wanted to rent the space, but apparently they never got together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Don't believe there are any other people signed up for speaking. So applicant's rebuttal. Would you like to reply to anything they said, sir?
The gentleman over here say about the number of members. So far, we are like maybe like 15, 20 members. We're not expecting like full up the place with 100 people. We know we have we're gonna have limits, and the schedules of the church it won't be like in a regular schedule for like like business, same as the business. The business usually are in the day, Monday to Friday. Our schedule is gonna be like usually Wednesday and Friday, 7:30. There's no business at that time. Over here, she's the owner of the place. She's living like 5. Also, the flower shop that is there, they usually they don't have too much business going there. Usually they do it like I don't know if internet, but they have over there like maybe like he say like 12 space, but over there the cars that we know is like maybe like 10 cars. That's the most that it can get in there, and we know our limits. As soon as we know we're gonna cross the line, we know for sure that we're gonna move. Over here that you see out, and she knows that because we're not gonna put the most. We know it's a risk. We know it's a risk. That's the only thing that I can add.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, that, I'd like to close the public hearing at 6:51. Okay, moving on to item 7B, consider making a recommendation concerning a request for a specific use permit for a church for approximately 0.215 acres located at 2512 Termini Street and legally described as abstract 19 Perry and Austin Lot 10-0-L 187 Termini S-D Highway 3 Dickinson.
I move that we deny this with the caveat that the city will work with these fine people to find a appropriate place.
Do I have a second?
I'd second that.
Okay. We have a second. Discussion? Anybody have comments? Mr. Phil? No? John? Okay. Okay. I will say that I think everybody on this council, this commission, I feel comfortable saying I won't speak for everybody to say everybody here is a Christian. I believe, though, for the most part, they are. And most of us are very strong supporters of churches in general. But we are inclined to agree with the development of our city and the things that we're directing that way. I would agree with Ms. Fortner here as far as we would love to invite you guys into Dickinson to do something. I would strongly recommend you talk to these two gentlemen to see if there's other locations where they could assist you guys, possibly a better building. It would probably have better parking too, to where you wouldn't have to limit yourself. It seems like this property, while it might, as far as the square footage, and it might, as far as the walls and the roof, be a very ideal, but it seems kind of ironic to have a church that's limited so much on schedule, whereas most of the churches I feel like should be open more often. So that's all the comments I have. Ms. Fortner, do you care to add anything to that?
That's it, just vote.
Okay. We have a motion. We have a second. All in favor of denying the specific use permit, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries to deny the SUP. Okay, moving on to item 7C. Conduct a public hearing concerning a request for a specific use permit for a church for approximately 0.33 acres located at 5818 East FM 517 and legally described as abstract 36 WG Banks lots 5, 6, and 7, and 8, Block 2, Tropical Gardens. Staff presentation, ma'am.
This piece of property is south of 517 on the far east side of Dickinson. It is currently vacant. And then what they're actually proposing is approximately 2,800 square foot church, which they'll have to come back for site development if the zoning gets approved. They've got floor plans and things like that already. So if this does get approved, they can come back for site development rather quickly. Do y'all have any other questions for me?
I'm familiar with that piece of property.
Mhm.
Did I hear you correctly say that they want to build a 2,800 square foot building on it?
Yes, a church.
And how would that allow for any parking there? Would that take up a large majority of that property?
Proposed site plan currently, but today we're talking about use only. So this is subject to change. We're not approving the site plan today.
What is it currently zoned for?
This one is currently zoned, zoned commercial, I believe.
GC.
And they're asking to
It's still zone GC, but it's
Mhm.
the specific use permit for a church. So the zoning's not changing, just the specific use permit portion.
Thank you.
That's complete, ma'am? Okay. Sorry about that. All right, so applicants' presentation. Do we have a representative for the applicant here? No?
Are you this applicant?
No, I'm the 53-4.
Okay, so
Okay, sorry.
we do not have an applicant on site. Okay, well, that being said, then no applicant presentation. Moving on to public comments. Mr. Cortland?
Again, Cortland Holman, 1621 FM 517. I'm going to be on a roll tonight. I'm sorry to say this is a general commercial near the high school where it's more conducive for commercial development and not a church. We are limited in space. Bill actually mentioned what I was going to say for this item on the last item. But at the same time, we're going to ICSC, International Conference of Shopping Centers, to look and work with development entities that would be more conducive to be a retail aspect across the street from on a major highway with good thoroughfare, lots of cars. I think there's approximately 11,000 cars that pass through this on a daily basis on the traffic study that I just pulled off of TxDOT from 2020. With that in mind, we're looking to put in some either strip centers that will generate retail sales tax dollars for this community, or a fast food restaurant type of affair, or more of an office complex or an office use for this area. Basically, all of our 517 corridor is very limited in abilities to develop. Quite a bit of it is very narrow and not as deep of a lot that I'd like to see, which some of it we are working with the city for the comprehensive plan and rezoning. And I've also already had with the comprehensive plan and rezoning an economic development strategic plan that goes into the comprehensive plan. And that will talk about the type of uses that we want to have on these corridors. So once again, not against church, in a location that is conducive to the community and conducive to the environment, but not in your commercial retail corridors. Things change over time, and of course, corridors change over time. But when you have a thoroughfare like this, and it's a major thoroughfare, and it's going to get heavier with 1,400 homes being built on the other side of Gum Bayou in Leaks in the city of Texas City area, that is going to affect this area greatly. This is one of the items that I just need to keep as retail commercial or general commercial, and not a non-taxable item that does not generate revenue for the city. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Schick?
Exactly what Cortland just said.
All right, times two. Got it. I got Naveed Karadia. Did I screw up the name?
Yeah, that's me, but I'm on the next.
Yep, we got him on the wrong list here. Okay. Okay, had him out of order. Sorry about that. Okay. Obviously, we're not going to have a applicant's rebuttal on that one. So we will adjourn the public hearing at 6:59 and move on to item 7D. Consider make a recommendation concerning a request for a specific use permit for a church for approximately 0.33 acres located at 5818 East FM 517 and legally described as Abstract 36 WG Banks lots 5, 6, 7, and 8, Block 2, Tropical Gardens. Do I have a motion?
I would move to not approve a permit for a church.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion?
I'm just thankful for the east side of Dickinson to start considering some great things happening on that side as well. The west side has had the luxury of having some good development for quite a while, and I'm happy to hear that we have a foresightfulness of that area. So that's all.
Mr. John,
I was just curious what the staff had a recommendation.
is there a staff recommendation on this?
Staff recommendation was for approval.
Okay. Bill?
What's the motion again?
To
To
decline.
deny.
Amy, anything?
I'd just like to say that offsetting the tax base with commercial projects is a good thing for our residents here. And like we said, we're not against churches here in our city. It's just important to be planning ahead.
Along with that planning, do you know there's going to be a large church in Texas City right there? You probably know that.
Okay. I have one simple comment. It seems kind of pointless seeing as we don't have a representative here for this application, but I guess I would direct it toward Yvonne as much as anybody. This evening, we've had two different churches interested in opening in our city. And as I've said, we're all in favor of churches. You know, we're okay with that. But the one thing that is a point that I would love for us to make sure our applicants are aware of, in driving over here, I counted 14 churches between 646 and 1266, 14 churches. About 10 of those are specifically on 517. And I've been in Dickinson long enough. I've gone to several of those churches, whether I was a member or whether I just joined friends and family at some of these. And several of these churches are kind of on their last legs. Their members have gotten older in life, and they don't have the tithing that they used to have. And they've got these beautiful, wonderful buildings that they just don't have the support and to maintain it. And I would very lovingly and respectfully ask that other personnel that enter the city that are interested in building a church or starting a church, I would ask them, would you consider joining a church and helping these other Christians keep this building and this facility in good condition and continue serving, our Lord, and make sure that it's working for everybody. I think that's something that would be beneficial in the future. So that, again, is just my opinion. We have a motion and a second. Any other comments? None. I'll take it to vote now. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes to decline the SUP. Okay. We will now move to item 7E, which is a public hearing concerning a request to amend. I'm going to back up. I was supposed to do this on the first two. We're going to open a public hearing at 7:03 p.m. I was supposed to do that on the first two, and I didn't. My apologies. We're going to conduct a public hearing concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from neighborhood commercial zoning district to general commercial zoning district for approximately 2.07 acres located at 1515 East FM 517 and legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, Sir Lot 1, Lot 2, and Lots 3 and 4, Paul Lobit subdivision. Staff presentation, ma'am.
This piece of property is on the north side of 517, kind of in the center of town. It's currently vacant. And what they're actually requesting is from neighborhood commercial to general commercial. The main difference between these two zoning districts is that general commercial includes all of the permitted uses that neighborhood commercial does, but it adds more intense uses. So they're asking for a more intense use than that is actually allowed currently under the neighborhood commercial. The specific uses, also the same thing. There are ones that are allowed in neighborhood commercial, some that are allowed in both, but then even more intense uses under general commercial with specific use permit. Their current application is to go to general commercial to build a gas station. You have any questions for staff?
Any questions?
Is it a gas station or a convenience store with gas being sold?
Well, they usually all
I'm going to
have
say
gas.
convenience store with gas, but it's basically retail and gas. So it's, I
I
mean,
mean, when I think of a gas station, I think of a gas station. They haven't been around.
No.
I was gonna say, are there any of those left?
You're showing your age.
It's usually- yeah, it's usually a convenience store itself, yeah.
I feel like when's the last time somebody came out to pump your gas too? Yeah,
And, I'm old enough to remember when they were gas stations.
fair enough, fair enough.
You got your gas pumped by somebody other than yourself.
Yes, sir. That's how I got through school. Outstanding. Okay, any other questions for staff, ladies and gentlemen? None whatsoever. So we will move on to applicant's presentation. Yes, sir. Name and address too, please.
My name is Naveed Karadia. My address is 1814 Rustic Hills Court. That's in Sugar Land, Texas. So the reason for the rezoning application is to rezone this property for a convenience store and gas station. I've identified this property to be located in a growing area in the city of Dickinson. The reason why I'm pursuing this property is because of its close proximity to the city and 45. And we've done our studies and with IMST and got some preliminary numbers back to make the project work. So that's the reason for the application. We've also identified that in the city of Dickinson that there are no new gas stations, modern gas stations, I would say, that you see nowadays, like the Time Wise and the Circle K's. A little background on myself and my company. We own and operate about 25 convenience stores all throughout Houston area. We brand them Shell, Exxon, and Chevron. So we have, many years of experience to own and operate these type of developments. We are also in the retail business, so we develop shopping centers as well. With the property being 2 acres, right now we're just going for a zoning change for commercial use, convenience store. If that is approved, our plan is to develop a convenience store and add additional 5,000 to 6,000 square feet of retail space next to the development. That's my presentation.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We'll move on to public comments. Cortland again? I don't even know why I look.
Once again, Cortland Holman, 1621 FM 517, and I'm really on a roll. I've got to ask you to deny this zoning change. This is, and unfortunately, I'm from Big Oil and I used to do gas stations, so I understand the dilemma, and I'm kind of in my own thought process, but this is actually not the right location for a gas station. We do have plenty of gas stations in the community on 517 that are more conducive for neighborhood traffic that is at hard intersections. This is not a hard intersection, and this is more and it actually is going to affect the neighborhood behind it a little bit more than the other corners that we have gas stations on 517 and I-45 at Maple, which is a hard intersection, 517, and then you go into the downtown, you have a couple of gas stations on hard corners where you have heavy traffic thoroughfares. You would have to have a turning motion across without a signalized intersection, which would impede traffic and actually potentially create a little bit more of a traffic congestion and potential traffic hazard. This location realistically should be more of an office complex or a small strip center where you have walk-in parking and walk-in, doing your shopping or work, a dental office or something like that, but is not a gas station location. And if you look at the neighbors behind it, I don't want to say NIMBYism because that always gets to me a little bit. But when I look at it, you're looking at a more tranquil environment behind this location. And across the street, the same thing. Eventually, that's going to be developed into either more of a housing or at least on the frontage, more of a strip center location. Once again, I'm going to ICSC and looking for and what I'm going to say, it's just not me. I've got 4 members of City Council and EDC board, the city manager, Yvonne, myself, a team of 8 going to Recon in Las Vegas coming up next month. We just came from Red River last couple weeks back. and made good inroads in finding development and businesses that are looking to be developing in our communities, and looking at the fast food restaurants, the strip centers, the ones that are conducive. And there is a formula where we want to put people in the right space for them to be successful long term. So when we're talking to these businesses, we have to show what type of neighborhood, what type of zoning it is currently, what type of traffic throughput. And when I'm talking to these people, they need to be also minded that we're not going to change things on them. So I've already been talking to people right now for a neighborhood commercial for this type of area on this section of town. Same thing on the entire corridor. So I take a lot of information to these conferences, conventions, to try to convince and work with these developers and business owners to locate in our community. This wouldn't be conducive for a big box retail, obviously, or certain other businesses that would go into a big box retail. But we do have boutique type stores and boutique type uses that would be conducive to a neighborhood commercial. This is not a general commercial location for this type of use. And when you look at the zoning code, there is a lot of type of uses that would not be conducive to this location. And I think staff has also recommended denial for this use as well, or for this zoning change. Do you have any questions for me?
We can't speak.
That's
right
right.
now.
Sorry. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Schick?
Bill Schick, 2926 Mellows Lane. I'm going to go in front of Cortland next time. Everything he said, this backs up against a very quiet residential area. It's a shallow lot, and the noise and the lights from a convenience store, 24-hour convenience store, would be very irritating. And I'm surprised the room is not full of those neighbors right now. We will work with the gentleman. If he's interested in doing some retail development in that area, we will work with him and see what we can do. But as far as a gas station, convenience store, this is probably not the right fit for that location. Thank you.
Okay. Applicant's rebuttal?
Just 2 points I'd like to make based on the comments. We were or are planning to do a right turn lane on 517 if the property was approved to mitigate the traffic that is on 517. We would also have two driveways, which would be one on 517 and the other on the cross street to mitigate the traffic on 517. The other point is the current gas stations on FM 517 are outdated and old. Our proposition is to build a brand new facility, a modern facility that has food to serve the community, and also about 6 MPDs that have enough pumps that cars can maneuver in and out of the property.
Thank you very much, sir. With that, we'll close the hearing at 7:13. You were supposed to, but your name, sir?
I'm Tim Larson.
You need to come to the podium, sir, and state your name and address, please.
Timothy Larson. I'm a commercial realtor with KW Commercial Real Estate here in Clear Lake. My address is 2412 Lake Shadows Lane in Friendswood. And I'm a neutral party to this whole thing. I'm here about a fodder complex. But last night I was leaving 3707 Fodder Drive, and I was thirsty. I had been working, and to his point, I was heading down 517 towards 45, and the option was to continue under the freeway to get something to drink, or to make a right and go to Friendswood and get off right there and stop and get a Gatorade. So as far as convenience, and then being in real estate, You know, that corridor right there, 517, what I've identified Dickinson as like a fantastic opportunity for a lot of development. And 646, 517, Highway 3, and 45, that's going to be a loop right there. And I do think that sort of improvement would be beneficial. A lot of gas stations nowadays have a separate restaurant within it. So it's like quick and convenient. And it would, anything new and nice and attractive and bright and shiny, I think like that would be a positive attribute to the community. Retail is struggling right now, and so are office buildings. The majority of the old models were really large. So if they are going to look at something like that in that project, I would encourage people to do very small developments like retail, no larger than 2,500 square feet per unit, even 15 or 1,000. So if lighting was an issue, I'm sure that they can do some directional lights, even some, sound barrier walls, whatever it may be. But I did happen to notice that last night, that there was literally nowhere for me to go going home. So those are my 2 cents. I think it would be positive.
Thank you very much, sir.
I can't question yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we will again close the public hearing at 7:16 and move to item 7F. Consider making recommendation concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from neighborhood commercial zoning district to general commercial zoning district for approximately 2.07 acres located at 1515 East FM 517 and legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, Sir Lot 1, 2, 3, and 4, Paul Lobitz subdivision. Open for a motion or discussion.
I just had a question. So there is a convenience store where you just described coming out. There is one between 45 and Fata.
It's
Sure.
relatively older.
Well, it doesn't matter. There is one.
It was older and shut down.
Mm.
And I know what one you're talking about. I tried to go there, but
It wasn't shut down. That's not.
it's not shut down. It's open, but it might have been closed maybe because
Is
it's
that
not
the mobile
that much business at
I
night.
think it's mobile.
Maple?
No, there's
Oh.
one right there. Yeah,
But it's an
That's
effort
in
to
my
get
backyard. It's open.
it's open. Yeah.
not at 11:30. But and maybe it shouldn't be. But I'm just anticipating that in the future, when you have right around the corner on 646, you have like one of the largest, best developed. You have the Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, and all that, right?
Yeah.
And you're surrounded by these relatively affluent communities, and you can see the path of growth coming. And Highway 3 in particular, I see that as a big revitalization corridor, and all of 517. So if I was to relate whatever happens on 517, I think there's another 52 homes going in across the street from Marias. So you're going to have more people coming in there. But that is like the grand entrance to the community. So the retail center up to 45, I know that was recently purchased. I know that those folks own some other stuff, multiple retail centers, and they're going to dress it up. And anything like that, there's just a lot of homes that were affected and properties that were affected by flooding.
Yeah.
And I think that's a
I think that's what they're trying to say is that they've got a handle on that.
the flooding issue. Yeah. But I'm
No,
saying,
I think what the guys are saying is that they've got a handle on what you've just described. They've got some steps forward.
Right.
So, I mean, I know, anyway, okay, thank you.
yeah, it would be, I think any sort of, that's just like a neighborhood amenity, and this place is going to grow tremendously. And like I said, if the one option, I mean, in fact, gas stations, there's usually 2 or 3 right in the same area.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
No problem.
Any other comments, ladies and gentlemen? I'm open for motions or comments.
No, he asked
So
for
staff-
Staff recommendation.
Was to decline it.
Staff recommends disapproval.
based on,
I think it will be too much of an impact on the neighboring
Mhm.
residential. It's not a very deep lot. It's less than 200 feet deep and backs right up to a house.
Mhm.
thank you.
Okay.
Just if I could, one more question.
Yes, sir.
I think I know the answer to this question, but this meeting was posted on a sign out there that this was going to take place?
Yes, sir.
So the neighborhood should have known or
Yes.
been aware? Because I'm like Mr. Chick, I'm very surprised that this room isn't full of people.
It's on the property as well.
I'm going to confirm that. Thank you.
I would say normally it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's state
Yeah.
law. I just want to make sure.
Sure, sure.
Right.
Again, comments or motion? Bill, comments?
I'll make a motion to do that.
Okay. We have a motion to deny.
I'll second.
We have a second. Okay. My only comment to it is, I appreciate people like yourself coming to our city. I really feel like we are a city on the rise, and we have not done everything what I would call the most effective way historically, and we're working on trying to improve that. There's a lot of people that are working in our city to really help us guide things through. And I am not opposed to another gas station. I'm not at all. Because I too have the struggle sometimes going to the older gas station. Sometimes I don't think we have any gas stations on the south side of 517 other than at 45. There's only one. And then you got to go down Highway 3 to Hughes Road. So I'm not opposed to it, but I do agree with everybody in that one specific lot is not the best. And so unfortunately, I'm going to give you the same comment that I referred earlier. Those two gentlemen behind you are neck deep in every piece of lot in our city. And I'm absolutely certain that there's probably some better places that would probably be more beneficial for you, even financially, whether, don't get me lying on the cost and value, ratio there, but I feel like there'd be something there. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to put this to the vote. All in favor of declining, vote aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion is carried. The request is denied. Okay, moving on to 7G. We're going to conduct a public hearing opening at 7:22. Conduct a public hearing concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from conventional residential zoning district to neighborhood commercial zoning district for approximately 0.54 acres located at 3707 Fada Drive and legally described as abstract 19 Perry and Austin Sur Point of lots 158 and A183, 0 through 5, Dickinson Edition D. Staff presentation, ma'am.
This piece of property is on the south side of 517, kind of in the middle of town. It currently has a strip center, multiple tenant building located on it. Right now, there are a number of the different suites that are unoccupied and some that are occupied. What they're actually asking is to be rezoned from conventional residential to neighborhood commercial. So conventional residential would typically just allow your conventional single family house. And what they're wanting to do is that light commercial, offices, florist shops, kind of the things that would not have a big impact on the residential adjacent to them. Kind of the same thing with some of the specific uses that are actually allowed in neighborhood commercial versus conventional residential. Currently, the property is considered what we're going to call a non-conforming use and structure, which means that they can remain there and continue to operate. But then there's always a balance of if it's vacant for 6 months and it becomes abandoned, the use becomes abandoned, what can go back in there? So what we're trying to do is line the use up with the structure and with the building and what's existing there so that they're no longer non-conforming, so they can have tenants come in and out. All of the current uses all fit under that office category. A temp service, insurance, a massage, chiropractic. So all of them fit in that neighborhood commercial zoning designation.
Can I
Do you have
ask
any
a
questions for
Yes,
staff?
I do. So there's a podcast type of thing. Does that fit in that too?
They're not there anymore.
Oh, they aren't? Okay.
Mm-mm. My question though, okay, so this request was by the owners of the building, correct?
Yes.
Okay. This is something we brought up several months ago, prior, I believe, even to you being here, where this is one that I feel like we have a facility that is non-conforming, just not at their fault, but by virtue of the fact of how our zoning through the city has developed. And to put it bluntly, not developed properly. Items like this, we'll get into my pros and cons to it in a minute, but ultimately, this is a perfect example of something I brought up months ago that I would like to see us start working on very slowly, identifying properties that are put it simply enough, miszoned. We have a lot of them, especially areas of the city that were annexed to us into our city later on that automatically became residential. And we've got a lot of businesses that are sitting in residentially zoned areas. And it would be to their benefit, to our EDC's benefit, if we were proactive on, and I could say everybody at this dais right here has the ability, in addition to yourself, for us to take a zoning map and in our neighborhoods, your neighborhoods, everybody's go, you know what? This is zoned as residential and there's a business there. Yvonne, can we please add this to an agenda in a month to discuss converting this at that time? Forgive me, everybody. This is completely a left field statement that I'm making here. It's not relative to this particularly, but it is something I'd like to see us work on as a group to improve this. This makes your job easier. It makes their job easier. And the citizens, shouldn't, for all due respect to them, I don't feel like they should have to spend the money and go through this, because this is, for all intents and purposes, the city's responsibility to get it right for them. So, and that's where I'll stop talking on that regard.
So I will add that we're in the middle of our comp plan. So we're going to wait until we see what the comp plan is before we move forward with, city sponsored changes.
Okay.
So we want to see what the goal is and then move towards that goal.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Yvonne. I appreciate it, ma'am. Is there any applicants present? Come on up. You get to say your name and address again.
Timothy Larson, 2412 Lake Shadows Lane, Friendswood, Texas. So this particular property is owned by Liberty Tower and Flair and recently changed hands to Paul and Sherry Masters. That property was built in 1988. The zoning was changed in 2001. There's a State Farm insurance across the street. I think I have my map open, sorry. Like the Chamber of Commerce is across the street. There are 11 doors on that property. There's one vacancy that was recently vacated by a boutique. There's a professional staffing company. There's a concrete related company that does like billing and receiving over there, or the office work. There's a chiropractor. We've had hearing aid related business applicants now, and there's a home co which does like all the interiors of homes, and then there's another insurance agency. So there's only one vacancy right now. This is just a matter of a property being rezoned after it was built, and it came up during the escrow and the buyer proceeded with it. Just, we thought it was a reasonable thing that we could get clarified. Just, somewhere some paperwork got missed. Maybe the previous seller did not follow up with it timely when that zoning originally changed. But it's been a professional office complex for its entire career. So that's
Okay. Thank you very much.
Bringing up that other point about how there are some that were missed, and it's, could we go back? Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Public comments. We have nobody signed up for it. Would anybody Mr. Cortland? Bill, you had a chance to go before him.
Actually, this one I do support.
All right.
From everything I said before for the previous project, this is a neighborhood commercial, and it should be zoned as neighborhood commercial, as well as a property literally across the street from it. This is one of the items I identified in September when I first actually started working for the EDC. This is the first item that I said this needs to be more of a neighborhood commercial use, and I did recognize at that time that it was the wrong zoning. With what you stated earlier about working with the rezoning certain properties, that's what the comprehensive plan, that's what the economic development strategic plan is working towards. And we're already looking at other corridors that we need to do more intense zoning changes, I think, to this representative's discussion on the I-45 517 corridor, because we are creating tax increment reinvestment zones on 2 locations, one in that Four Corners there and then one in the downtown. But this item is a neighborhood boutique style type of use. So it does need to be neighborhood commercial because it is a very integral part of the community and very good use for that property.
Thank you very much, sir.
Everything Portland just said.
You really have to get up before him eventually. Okay, do you feel like making a rebuttal to that, Mr. Larson? Okay, I didn't figure you did, but okay. All right, so we will adjourn the hearing at 7:30. Then we'll move on to 7H. Consideration making a recommendation concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from conventional residential zoning district to neighborhood commercial zoning district for approximately 0.54 acres located on 30707 Fata Drive and legally described as Abstract 19 Perry and Austin, Sur Point of lots 158 and 183, 0 through 5, Dickinson Edition D.
I move that we amend the official zoning map from conventional residential to neighborhood commercial for this property.
And we have a second. Any comments? Okay, let's take it to a vote. All in favor of changing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None opposed. Motion carries to change the zoning to neighborhood commercial. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to slide back to 6A, which is to receive training on the site development process. Ms. Yvonne? You have the helm.
Okay, so the next item that you're going to hear after this is the site development. Last month, y'all asked for some additional instruction on what exactly you're reviewing. And so this is just to kind of go over those things. So any property that's zoned high residential, neighborhood commercial, or general industrial requires a site development plan be submitted and heard before the commission prior to permitting. That is for any development that is actually going to increase the value or the building by 50% or more. When the commission approves a site development plan, that is good for 1 year, and they have to have an approved permit within that time. And they can also ask for a time extension of up to 1 year. When an application is submitted, it gets scheduled before the commission. The commission reviews all of the plans, and once those plans are approved, then the applicant can submit for a building permit. When the commission makes a decision, basically me as the zoning official, I'll just in writing say, the decision was made, you can now submit your building permits, or that, they need to revise and come back. When I receive an application, I actually send it to multiple different departments and even some outside agencies for review. They're sent to administration, the chief building official, fire, WCID, public works, and then engineering and planning and zoning. So everyone reviews them to see if it meets the codes. I try not to bring anything that we're going to say does not meet. One type of plan that you can see is called a master development plan. This is a plan that's developed in phases. So if something's going to be developed in phases, they need a master plan either before or with the first section. And then for each additional section, they'll submit that master plan with them as well. Just kind of general requirements of the master plan, lots and blocks, drainage, water and wastewater, landscape plan. And that's really all they have to include for that master development plan. Another type of plan that you can see is a manufactured home community, a site development plan. It has a little bit different requirements of what it has to include. So, it includes contour lines and, some additional information, the density per acres, the waste containers, and then how they're going to dispose of the method, their paving and drainage plans. So they do include a little bit more. The third type of plan that you could see is a parking plan. So a parking plan is actually required for any construction of off-street parking lot that is needed to be resurfaced of an existing or unpaved lot, or the expansion of an existing lot. And then the only time it's not required for an existing paved lot is if they're not increasing driveways and not increasing the amount of pavement. Our code actually goes into everything that they have to have on that site plan, from, the owner, the designer, the roadways, the topographic details, driveways, how people are going to get around. They do the parking, the utilities, the drainage, landscaping, and fire. So these are all of the reviews that those other, departments have seen. All of those things are similar to what you're reviewing when you review a plan. With the site development plan, the disapproval of a plan, if you decided to not approve it, it can actually be appealed to and for city council to make a decision. And then for site development, which is a little bit different, but it goes into even more detail of everything. So kind of the same things, but it includes key maps, landowners, an accurate survey, but really just kind of a lot of the same things that the other plan includes: building lines, easements. So basically everything should be outlined as far as where things are going before they bring a site development to you. So where the fire hydrants are, the drainage, the street lights, the vegetation, really kind of just how the site is laid out. And then a lot of times, depending upon what they do submit, we can ask for some accompanying documentation. So that if there's a pipeline that goes through it, we'd want pipeline documentation. If there's, maybe something that, is found in those other things. Traffic impact analysis is another one that, sometimes as a zoning official, we want to see if the development's going to be increasing things to significantly. Do y'all have any questions?
I do.
Yeah.
So one of the things I took from what you just said is, if we review a site development plan and we as a commission vote it down, which means, we had a
Mm-hmm.
not in favor of it, they can just naturally appeal it and go straight to council afterwards?
Yes.
Does that kind of defeat the whole purpose of our existence in that subject then?
That's never been the case before.
That's what the code states. So just because they've maybe not done it doesn't mean that that's not what's allowed.
Interesting.
I have no problem doing it always.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I thought was part of our mission, but I'm kind of going, it seems redundant if we say no and they go, okay, thanks for your info. We're going to go ahead and move it down the pipe anyway. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Is it something that should actually be part of our purview to look at these things?
It always has been, but that hasn't been the case with site development.
Site development
before.
is not a recommendation to council. Site development, you actually approve. And then once you approve, they can submit for building permit.
If we approve.
If
So
plan, it
council
never goes to
doesn't have
council
to-
unless
No,
it's
it doesn't
appealed.
go to council.
Council doesn't review the site development unless we reject it.
That's
Well,
correct.
And unless they appeal it.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
One thing I would want to comment, if we are, this is a site development plan? I can't read it. Yeah,
In your packet, you get the full size. When I print them 8.5 by 11. So, I don't have a way to print the big plans. The roll of plans is pretty large. So you can always come up to City Hall and look at the plans because we do have them in-house, or you can look at them online, but when I print your agenda packet, it's normal paper.
Yeah. So I guess we'll have to come up. We want to see it better.
Okay. Anything else? Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? With that, we will move on to item 6B. Discuss and consider a request for a site development plan for a gas station and C-store, approximately 0.5936 acres located at 5304 Highway 3 and legally described as Reserve A Erzan Enterprise Incorporated.
Is on the southwest corner of, excuse me, Hughes Road and Highway 3. What they are proposing is about a 4,300 square foot convenience store. The site plan includes their parking, their landscaping, their driveways. Oh. If y'all
Okay.
Thank you.
So much better.
So 4,300 square foot gas station with parking, gas canopies.
Question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
Are they redoing the current one that's there?
I think they're demoing it.
That's going to be demolished and this is going to be a new one.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think you could make that one nicer again.
I don't know. There's miracles.
Okay. Does anybody have comments, concerns, questions?
What is staff's recommendation on this?
Staff does not make recommendations on site plans.
Okay.
I didn't get any comments back from any departments.
Okay, so no comments came back from it after, as you described earlier, multiple departments did review it.
Yep. I send it to everybody.
So it fell in the category of no issues. I assume
So
no news is good news.
is applicant here? I mean, oh, hey. Hi, how are you?
My name is Rahim Ali. I live on 1225 Martinez Court, Friendswood.
So question for you, is the 4,300, is it just all convenience store or is it going to be broken up? Or are you going to have
No, it's going to
food?
be all convenience store with the daily fast food in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So about this property in 2020 September, I was planning to reopen the store, remodel and stuff. Then I decided to have real nice store there. I currently have 11 location, and I know what I'm doing it. So it's going to be very nice and beautiful store there.
Big store.
It's a good location for it too.
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, do we want to make a motion? Comments? Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Miss Amy's got a second. Okay. If anybody has any more comments, then we'll go to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It is unanimous. It is approved. The site plan is approved. Thank you very much, sir. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
Aye.
carried. Thank you.